Mr. President.
The senator from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank my colleague from Massachusetts. Before I walked down to the floor tonight, I was watching him on television as he gave his remarks. I know he is more than a little bit under the weather, and I want to thank him for his comments. And I want to thank him for his refreshing point of view, because he comes here as a common man to try to do the best he can for the people of Massachusetts and the people of this country. And he knows, in the short time that he's been here, that this system is broken. It's not working for American families. It's why Americans are so upset at their government. It's not America that's broken, it's the government that is broken. A government that is now saying, we don't want you to profit, we don't want the business to succeed, sending all the messages that say, America is not open for business. With too much regulation, too much taxes, too much spending, too much uncertainty, too much of Congress pulling these big levers on government and on the economy that stops job creators in their tracks. When I visit businesses in Florida, as I often do, they tell me, look, Senator, we don't know, actually they just call me George, we don't know, George, what's going to happen with our business. We don't know what this 2,000-page health care bill is going to do for our business. Are we going to hire one more employee and fall under some new fine or mandate? Is this financial regulation bill going to make business more expensive? Small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and the few large businesses that we have in Florida are frozen in their tracks. They won't hire. Worse still, now we have these tax cuts that are set to expire at the end of the year, and these businesses don't know what their taxes are going to be. Is their tax on their dividends going to go up? Is capital gains going to go up? Are they going to be paying a higher tax rate themselves because they file as if they were an individual, because they're a subchapter S corporation? All of this uncertainty, all of this regulation, all of this taxing, too much debt, too much spending, too much borrowing freezes business in its tracks. And now we have this Creating American Jobs and Ending Offshoring Act. Mr. President, I'm new here too. I've been here just about a year. But you can mark my words, when you hear a title like that, you better read the details. Boy, it sure sounds good. We want to end the offshoring of jobs. Who would not be for that? It sounds great. But the truth of it is you're going to tax American corporations who are doing work in foreign countries. You're going to double tax them under this proposal and make them uncompetitive. So when Caterpillar sends bulldozers to India, they're going to be taxed more, which is going to hurt the folks in this country who are building bulldozers. And you can apply that to any business that's doing work overseas. We don't need to be discouraging exporting. We need to be encouraging exporting. We know that when we invest in exporting, we get a huge return on investment. That's what we should be doing, but that doesn't make a nice soundbite. That doesn't sound good right before an election. We shouldn't be imposing more taxes on businesses who are trying to create jobs overseas, which employ more people in this country. That's uncompetitive. That doesn't make any sense. What we should be doing is reinstating these tax cuts that have been around for 7 and 9 years respectively, and not raising taxes in the middle of a recession. Can you imagine that we are going to go back for the next month and businesses in our country are not going to know what their tax rate is next year? And people wonder in this chamber why people aren't hiring. Because there's too much uncertainty. They don't know what their taxes are going to be. You know what businesses want? They want a level, fair playing field, and they want predictability. And all this government does, all this Congress does, is change the rules every couple of months to make things unpredictable. Now, I heard my colleague from New York talking about the fact that the last decade was lost to the middle class, that they lost wages, that they actually went down, not up. That's something that appeals to all of us. But government's not going to be the solution to that problem. Government's not going to fix that. The private sector is going to fix that. Why are we demonizing business? Why are we demonizing profits? This has never been a country where we said, we are going to bring you up by pulling other people down. This has been a country where we said, we will give you the opportunity to succeed, and then you can be rich too someday. That's the American dream. That's what separates us from every country in the world. We look on these other countries like India and China and say, look, they're going to overtake us. They're more competitive. They're not playing by the rules. They're doing things cheaper in those countries, opening up call centers, stealing American jobs. Let me tell you, I've had the opportunity to travel to some of these countries in my stead as a United States Senator. And on its best day, India is not as good as we are on its worst, on our worst. There's nothing that America can't do. There's nothing that Americans can't do, but the thing that is failing America now is this Congress and this government. What we should be doing is creating certainty. What we should be doing, Mr. President, is approving the 3 free trade agreements that we still have outstanding with Colombia, Panama, and South Korea. That would get Americans back to work. What we should be doing is cutting the payroll tax across the board for every employee and every employer. Let's cut it temporarily by 3%. Let's give every employee a 3% pay raise and every employer 3% more that they can use to hire new employees, buy new equipment, and get Americans back to work. People in this chamber are willing to work across the aisle to be problem solvers. Mr. President, I did that on the small business bill because it was the right thing for Florida and was the right thing for this country. But let's not demonize each other. Let's not demonize American business, because we know that American business are the people who create jobs. We don't need to create more government jobs. We need to create more private sector jobs. That's what's going to get this economy back up and running. What I fear is what Senator Brown talked about. His notion of why do you get up in the morning? Is the next person, the next Bill Gates who started Microsoft, is the next Hewlett and Packard who started Hewlett and Packard in their garage, is the next innovator, the next entrepreneur just going to say, look, you know, there's just too much taxes, too much regulation, too much uncertainty. I'm not going to go pursue that idea. Have we taken away the American dream? As someone just recently said to the president in a town hall meeting, is this my new reality? Is the American dream lost? It's not. We'll get through this. But we're only going to get through this when we realize that government is not the creator of jobs. The private sector is the creator of jobs. Our obligation is to have regulation for it to be fair, to make sure people don't cheat. And otherwise, our job is to get out of the way and let business succeed, to employ our people and allow them to achieve their dreams. This bill doesn't do that. This makes us less competitive. That will hurt jobs. What we should do is reinstate the tax cuts to create certainty, to not raise taxes in the middle of a recession. We should cut payroll taxes. We should approve the free trade agreements. And we should focus every day we're here on jobs, not on campaign election laws, not on this frolic, not on this detour, but on jobs. The American people are hurting. Mr. President, the people in my state are hurting badly. It's the worst recession that anyone can remember in Florida. The worst recession that anyone can remember. Unemployment is near 12%. In some cities, it's 14%. And when you figure in the underemployed, it's more than 20%. People who want to work who can't. Let's give them certainty. Let's not raise taxes on them. And let's make sure that we have a level playing field for business so business can do what business does best. And that's create jobs. With that, Mr. President, I see that my time has expired. I yield the floor.